Hello students, this is your English lesson. In this lesson, we are going to read unit number 10, The Wolf Children 2 from Oxford Modern English 6. First of all, words to know. Bound, walk in a leaping manner. Crouch, to squat down on the balls of the feet with knees bent and body hunched over. Airy, frighteningly strange, weird. Lap, take liquid with the tongue. Mourn, to be sad, especially because someone has died. Orphanage, a home for children with no parents. Now come to the reading. On November 4th, Mr. Singh took the two girls to the orphanage in the city. His wife, who helped run the orphanage, could hardly believe her eyes as she watched the wolf children. Both had thick, rough skin on their hands, knees, and elbows because they moved on all fours. When they wanted to go a short way, they used their knees and elbows, but when they wanted to run, they would travel using their hands and feet. Mrs. Singh gave them each a dish of milk which they lapped up. When she tried to touch them, they growled and snapped at her hand. The girls were given the names Kamala and Amla. Kamala means lotus flower and Amla means bright yellow flower. It was clear that Kamala was several years older than Amla, and Mrs. Singh guessed that Kamala must be about 8 years old. The Singhs had no way of telling whether the two girls were sisters or not, and they had no idea how they had come to live with the wolves. It seemed a miracle that they had survived in the jungle for so long. Mr. Singh decided that the discovery of the children should be kept a secret. His wife agreed that this was best for the girls. It was a secret that the Singhs were not able to keep for long. When Mrs. Singh tried to give the girls their first bath, the orphanage echoed with their howls. Soon, talk of the wolf children spread through the city. The first lesson that Amla and Kamla had to learn was that they were not wolves. This was far more difficult than Mrs. Singh had imagined. Although she intentionally played with other children in front of Amla and Kamla, she could not get the wolf girls to behave like humans. For weeks they ignored the games and laughter of the children. Instead, they preferred to crouch in the shade or stand motionless with their faces to the wall. Only at night did they become active. They would howl early in a strange manner, or hurl through with great force themselves at the wall in an attempt to escape. They would only feed like wild animals, taking raw meat and liquids which they would eat and drink in a crouching position. When Mrs. Singh gave Amla and Kamla toys to play with, they simply chewed them as if they were bones. Whenever people went near them, they snarled. Snarl, make an aggressive growl, and arched their backs, shaking their heads backwards and forwards. One little orphan boy tried to make friends with the wolf girls. When they decided to play with him, they treated him like a wolf cub. Mrs. Singh had to rush over and rescue him from their playful attack. Mr. Singh realized how difficult it was going to be to educate the girls. Even after months in the orphanage, no progress had been made. It was clear the girls did not think like humans. For them, it was more natural to behave like wolves. Then both girls fell seriously ill, and sadly Amla died of kidney disease on September 21st, 1921. For Kamla, the younger wolf girl's death was a terrible setback. She howled for many days and refused to eat. All she would do was sniff round after Amla's scent. Gradually, Kamla turned to Mrs. Singh and slowly began to respond to the woman's patience and kindness. At last, she started to eat cooked meat, and the day came when she made her first human sound. Mrs. Singh massaged Kamla's thin massaged Mrs. Singh massaged Kamla's thin legs every day. This was done so that Kamla could stand upright. Early in 1922, she could walk on her knees and a few months afterwards rose up on her two legs for the first time. It was a wonderful moment for Mrs. Singh, who had patiently spent hours with Kamla. Mr. Singh was also delighted. He held out his arms like a proud father as Kamla took her first few faltering, faltering, losing strength. Now Kamla began to trust humans. She would bound towards Mrs. Singh when it was time for her to have her milk, and she would enjoy rides on the swing. She became used to wearing a dress and she tried to learn to speak. Kamla understood most of the things that were said to her, but she spoke very little herself. Even so, she managed by 1929 to learn about 50 words. In the orphanage garden, she started talking to the flowers and animals. When she thought nobody could hear, she would sing lots of little phrases. For hours, she would sing away to her audience of chickens, goats, puppies, and trees. Then Mrs. Singh was forced to leave the orphanage for several weeks. Her aunt was seriously ill. Kamla couldn't understand why Mrs. Singh had left her. For 2 weeks, she went back to her old ways. She sat in a dark corner, swaying backwards and forwards. Everyone in the orphanage was worried about her, but there was nothing they could do. Kamla refused her food. She stopped singing to herself. At last, Mrs. Singh returned. "Quick, Kamla, Mama has come back!" someone cried. The words acted like magic. Kamla ran to greet Mrs. Singh. Both were overjoyed to see each other. Mrs. Singh held out her arms, lifted Kamla up, and covered her face with kisses. Kamla refused to let go to Mrs. Singh's hand for the rest of the day. That night, Mrs. Singh sat in his study writing up his notes. As he finished writing, he smiled to himself. Kamla had learned something more important than how to walk and talk. She had learned how to love a human being. On November 14, 1929, Kamla died, as Amla had done, of kidney failure. She was greatly mourned by Mrs. Singh. Mourn, feel sorry, and the rest of the children in the orphanage. Now come to the exercises. A. Comprehension. Answer the following questions. A. Was Mrs. Singh surprised by the children? How do we know? Answer. Yes, she was surprised by them. She could hardly believe her eyes. B. How did the two children move about? Answer. The two children moved about on all fours. Sometimes they moved on their knees and elbows, but if they wanted to run, they used their feet and hands. C. Why did the children drink milk by lapping it up with their tongues? D. In what ways did the children behave like animals? Answer. They used their knees and elbows to move short distance. They used their hands and feet when running. They lapped milk from a dish. They howled and did not like being bathed. They crouched in the shade or stood motionless with their faces to the wall. They tried to escape and hurled themselves against the wall. They ate like wild animals, taking raw meat and liquids in a crouching position. They treated other children like wolf cubs. E. What did the Singhs decide to do and why? Answer. The Singhs decided to keep the discovery of the wolf girls a secret. They did not want people coming to see them out of curiosity. F. Why did the girls become active only at night? Answer. Wolves are active at night and sleepy during the day, and the girls were used to following this pattern of behavior. G. How do we know that Kamla missed her sister? Answer. When Amla died, Kamla missed her greatly. She howled for many days and refused to eat. All she would do was sniff around for Amla's scent. Age. How long did it take Kamla to learn about 50 words? Answer. It took Kamla almost 9 years to learn about 50 words. I. Why did Mrs. Singh have to leave the orphanage? Answer. Mrs. Singh had to leave the orphanage because her aunt was ill. J. What was the most important thing that Kamla learned? Answer. The important thing that Kamla learned was how to love a human being. 2. Use words and phrases from the passage to complete these sentences. A. When Mrs. Singh first saw the wolf children, she could hardly believe her eyes. B. Mr. Singh decided to keep the discovery of the children a secret. C. The wolf children did not play with other children. They preferred to crouch in the shade. D. For the two girls, it was more natural to behave like wolves. E. Kamla's legs were massaged so that she could stand upright. F. When Mrs. Singh left the orphanage, Kamla went back to her old ways. G. Every night, Mr. Singh spent some time writing up his notes. 3. Answer the following questions with reference to context. A. His wife agreed that this was best for the girls. What was best for the girls? Why? Answer. She agreed that keeping their discovery a secret was best for the girls in order to try and protect them from the townspeople. B. This was far more difficult than Mrs. Singh had imagined. 1. What was this difficulty? Answer. That the girls thought they were wolves. The Singhs had to somehow get it across to them that they were humans. 2. How did the Singhs overcome this difficulty? Answer. Mrs. Singh deliberately played with the other children in front of Kamla and Amla. She gave them toys to play with, and then after Amla died, she preserved with Kamla, showing her patience and kindness. C. Mrs. Singh had to rush over and rescue him from their playful attack. 1. Who was attacked? Answer. One little orphan boy. 2. How did he come to be attacked? Answer. He tried to make friends with the wolf girls. 3. In what way was he attacked? Answer. They treated him like a wolf cub and attacked him playfully. B. Working with words. Use a dictionary to find the meaning of the following words. Orphanage. Institution which cares for children with no parents. Miracle. Marvelous events due to some supernatural agency. Echo. Repetition of sound by reflection of sound waves. Lap. Take up liquid by scooping with the tongue. Deliberate. Consider carefully. Intentional, not impulsive. Progress. Forward or onward movement. Setback. Impede or reverse progress. Respond. Give an answer. Faltering. Stumbling. Staggering. Unsteady. Mourn. Feel sorrow or regret for the dead. On the next page is a crossword puzzle with a difference. Solve the clues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 9 and write the answers in the crossword grid. 1. Cafe. 2. Locksmith. 3. Hospital.
4. Decagon. 5. Kindergarten. 6. Harbor. 8. Emporium. Number 4. Give the opposites of the following words. Verb to succeed, fail. B. To hinder, help. C. To oppose, support. D. To increase, decrease. Nouns. A. Amateur, professional. B. Arrival, departure. C. Danger, safety. D. Lies, truth. E. Wealth, poverty. Adjectives. A. Common, rare. B. Negative, positive. C. Delicate, hardy. D. Stale, fresh. E. Tame, wild. Adverbs. A. Everywhere, nowhere, no here, now here. B. Fast, slow. C. Frequently, infrequently. D. Early, late. E. Always, never.
Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.